And now, it is my turn to talk about my father. You guys can all sit down. And Dad, you need to bring up a chair because this isn't going to be pretty. Cards here. I'm supposed to talk for about 20 minutes. And some of it is going to be funny, I hope. I actually haven't had a chance to get all the way through this. I've just been coming up with ideas. I was asked by my sister Julie to roast him, to make fun of my dad on his 80th birthday, which, you know, I just want my dad to know that it's not in disrespect or anything like that, but, you know, we had a pretty wild childhood growing up, and part of that is your fault. So, I'll introduce myself once again. This is my intro. I am Jeff Braverman, and I am Bill's oldest son. And I was sort of volunteered by Julie to get up here and roast my dad. And then I thought about it, and I thought that shouldn't be that hard, because I do remember a lot of the things, you know, as a kid growing up. And, you know, after all, my dad did give me so much. I mean, just look at me. Look at my gray hair. If you look closely, I have hair growing out of my ears, just like he does. And if I didn't trim my eyebrows, they'd be 8 inches long, just like my dad's used to be. But I see that he did get nice and trimmed for this party and decked out, and that's very nice, Dad. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I'm flipping the card now.
Your mic.
It wasn't always about hair, but my dad always had lots of hair. I'm just telling you, as a kid, you know, you went, wow, he's got so much hair. It was just amazing. It was also about having 2 wonderful sisters, a wonderful brother. I'm going to get choked up sometimes. I just know I am. A wonderful home. And it was about caring and sharing music, baseball, adventure, and most of all, it was about love. Are you okay, Dad?
What?
That was the intro, folks. We're almost there. We've only got 9 more cards to go. I want to welcome everybody, and being here tonight and meeting some of his friends and family that I haven't seen in a while. It's really hard for me to believe that my dad has this many friends. So I came to the conclusion that it was mostly for the free food or your family and you just felt obligated. But no, honestly, it's really nice to hear these wonderful things about my dad. You know, people are coming up going, oh, he's so good looking, he's just like his dad. And I'm like, my dad? You know, you're insulting me. Okay, now I was born in 1957. Okay, 1957, and to say the least, a lot of my memories are very vague, but I do have some. And before 1957, as a kid, these are the things I heard about my dad. He was Jewish. He was in the war. He got his hearing messed up in the war. And let's see, there was something else here. He got a Purple Heart, okay? And if you look at the memorabilia table, he got a Purple Heart over there for being in the war. What was that, World War I? Or the Civil War? I can't remember. But anyway, his Purple Heart, later on, you know, we started thinking, you know, we had these memories and visions as a kid of my dad, you know, being blown up off this hill and losing his hearing. And that's the story that kind of sticks, and that's what happened, right? You got shrapnel, and it blew up too close to him or something, and he lost his hearing. And then, later on, we heard that he got his Purple Heart for an ingrown toenail, so I'm not really sure which one is true, okay? But growing up right away, I mean, as a 4-year-old, you know, when you think about your earliest memories, you kind of, you know, you think, gosh, what do I remember about my dad? Well, the first thing I remember is that my dad was very different. And this is where the first prop comes in, okay? So, let me get it for you. Can you stand up and show everybody? In order for my dad to hear me when I was little, you had to talk into his stomach. Okay? It was like this. This is how these conversations would go. Put that back up there. Dad, I want a bike. And he would look at me with this puzzled look on his face, and he'd go, why do you want to fight? And I go, no, Dad, I don't want to fight. I want a bike. And he'd look, oh, where are you going to hike? And most of our conversations would end in me saying, forget about it, Dad, never mind. Okay, if you want to go sit down now, you can keep, but this is what his hearing aid used to look like. Okay? Only a lot of times, you know, when Mom would call us in, you know, in the morning, like on Sunday morning, and we go in to talk to Dad, you know how kids do, they come running into their parents' bedroom and jump on the bed, and it would be like, talk into his stomach, he can't hear you. And that's basically what we had to do. And he had this big hearing aid, and he's laughing, it's okay, he's got a good sense of humor. I think I told everybody that, he's got a very good sense of humor. We still tell jokes to this day. Now, what did I do with the rest of my cards? Help me.
You lost them?
Okay, they did modernize hearing aids. And you know, that brings to me a good point. When I moved out of the house, I came over one day to visit. You know, I'd go to check the refrigerator. You know, I just lived a few miles away, so I'd come see what was in the refrigerator. And one day I come over, and my dad is he's the happiest guy. He's going, Jeff, you won't believe this. I got this new hearing aid, and I can hear everything. I can hear like I had never heard before. I can hear birds singing. I can hear people whispering. I'm like born again. It's the greatest thing. This hearing aid is wonderful. And I said, Dad, I go, what? That's wonderful. I go, what kind is it? And he looks at his watch and he says, about 2:30. Okay, so anyway, you know, my dad, as we were kids, being hard of hearing, it wasn't always a bad thing. You know, we could play, you know, when he was napping, we could make lots of noise, he'd never know. And we were the only kids in the neighborhood that could talk behind their dad's back, and he couldn't hear. You literally had to yell. But, you know, if you think his hearing's bad now, he really has improved quite a bit, so that's nice. But I think half of my childhood, he never heard a word I said. Okay, you want to go sit down now with your friends, Dad? I'm not done yet, I'm not done. Okay, give me a second to find my place here. Talking into his stomach. Yes, we did that.
I didn't hear it.
Do you even know anything about it?
You know, the other thing, I'm going to go, one more thing. We had these telephones in our house. And you could turn it up so loud and hear, the dial tone was this loud. You could hear it all the way in the other room, but still my dad, you know, when he'd get a phone call, the phone would ring 15 times, he's sitting right next to it, Dad, the phone! You know, he'd pick it up. Hello, who, what? Huh, what? Jeff, it's for you. Then I would get on the phone, and I'd go, hello? Uh-huh, yes, okay, yeah, no, Dad. It's for you, it's the printer, your artwork isn't going to be ready today, you know, and I'd have to carry on these conversations, and he'd say, what do you mean my artwork isn't going to be ready? You tell that guy, you know, he's some kind of big jerk, and, you know, and he'd get me in the middle of these fights and these things, and it's like, and then he'd hand the phone back to me, and the guy would get on the phone, and he'd go, you know, your dad is a real, you know, I can't say that because we have children, and I'd sit there and go, okay, yeah, well, you know. So I'd have to explain to my dad, you can pick up your artwork tomorrow, and, okay, Dad, that's all the hearing jokes. Where did he go? Did he leave the room? That's it for the hearing jokes, okay, I promise. Okay, let's see. I'm really winging this a lot. Okay, that's it. I'm doing great, she says. We do have a lot of great memories also as kids. We took train trips across the country with my dad, Becky and I did, and those are some of the fondest memories, going to Florida, going to Missouri on the train. It was such an adventure. And we had a really happy childhood. My father was really the guy that took care of us, in the sense that my mom was a nurse and she worked the graveyard shift. So she was always sleeping during the day, and my dad would get us up, make us breakfast, you know, corned beef and eggs, you know, steak and eggs. Fried matzo was a big one. French toast, you know, he'd take us to school. And, you know, to say anything about his cooking, all I can say now is that I became a vegetarian. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it. My dad also worried a lot. Can you believe that? I mean, my father used to worry about us kids like there was no tomorrow. If we walked to school, he was sure we were going to get kidnapped. If we rode a bike, we were surely going to fall and break our arm. If we swam in a pool, we were going to drown. And when I was 15, I finally got my first bicycle because he was so worried about me riding a bike. Of course, most of my friends were driving, but I finally got that first bike, and man, I was really happy about that. Okay, I have to tell a story. I have to find this one. Okay, this one is titled One Night. And my mom and dad, they had this monthly ritual. Okay, a monthly ritual. And at night after we were in bed, they would sneak into the main bathroom, and we'd be laying there in bed, and we'd be hearing all kinds of weird noises coming out of that bathroom. For some reason, he looked like a new man the next day. It was like he was a young man again. One night, after going to bed, I'm laying in there, and I'm hearing things like moans, groans, and I just couldn't take it anymore. My curiosity had peaked. I had to find out what was going on in that bathroom. So I walked down the hallway, hearing things. Oh, by the way, the bathroom had pink carpeting and green walls. True. And that was the one bathroom. The other bathroom had a smiley face motif. Okay, anyway, here I am walking down this hallway, hearing these noises, and I heard my mom yell, "Don't move, hold still, we're almost there. 10 seconds more." And my dad said something like, "Make sure it doesn't squirt in my eye." And I opened the door slowly, and to my surprise, my mother was on top of my dad. My dad was laying on his back with his head in the sink, and my mom looks at me and goes, "Go back to bed, I'm just dyeing his hair." And he looked like a new man because this dye that she used, it looked like tar. And the next day, you know, he'd go from like white hair to jet black. I'm feeling pretty good now. We got a laugh out of that one. That's good. Okay, let's see. Where am I? We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see. Oh, you know, going back real quickly. I mean, the worry thing. Literally, when we walked to school, there would be times where we'd think, "Oh, look, we're walking to school by ourselves. We are so proud of ourselves." And then you'd look back and you'd see my dad duck behind a bush like, "Oh, I hope they didn't see me." He would follow us to make sure we got there okay.